The great hall floated in space like a crystal bubble. Inside, beings from across the galaxy sat in perfect circles. Some had forearms, others had tentacles. A few were made of light itself. They all belonged to the Galactic Council, the group that had kept peace in the stars for thousands of years. High Admiral Zexthera stood at the center. She was tall and blue, with sharp teeth and eyes like black diamonds. Her people, the Vorthons, were known as great warriors. Today she had come to talk about war. "My fellow council members," she said, her voice echoing through the hall. "We have a problem. A big problem." The hologram above her head showed a small blue planet. It looked peaceful from space with white clouds and green lands. But Zexthara knew better. "This is Earth," she continued, "home to a species called humans. They are dangerous." An old being made of crystal spoke up. His name was Veltan, and he was the oldest member of the council. "Tell us why, Admiral. What makes these humans so dangerous?" Zexthara waved her hand. The hologram changed to show human cities. Tall buildings reached toward the sky. Cars moved on busy streets. "Look at how fast they build. Just 200 years ago, they rode horses. Now they have flying machines and weapons that can destroy mountains." The council members shifted in their seats. A creature that looked like a giant insect clicked its mandibles. "Many young species develop quickly," it said. "Why should we worry about humans?" "Because they are different," Zexthara replied. She showed new images. Human soldiers in uniform, human ships sailing across oceans, human rockets blasting into space. Most species develop slowly. They think carefully. They avoid conflict. But humans? They fight constantly. They compete over everything. Land, resources, ideas. They even fight about what gods to worship. A being made of pure energy flickered with concern. Fighting is natural for young species. They usually learn to be peaceful. "No," Zexthara said firmly. "Humans are not like others. Look at this." The hologram showed human movies and TV shows. Alien invasions, space battles, humans fighting monsters. This is their entertainment. They imagine war with aliens. They dream about it. They practice for it. The council members began to whisper among themselves. Some used words, others communicated through colors or thoughts. Zexthara continued her presentation. "In the last 50 years, humans have split the atom. They have built weapons that can destroy their entire planet. They have sent machines to other worlds, and they are getting faster." She showed charts and numbers. "Our scientists predict that humans will discover faster than light travel within 2 years. Maybe less. When that happens, they will spread across the galaxy like a disease." Veltan's crystal body pulsed with concern. "What do you suggest we do?" "We must act now," Zexthara said. "Before they leave their planet." "Before they become a threat to everyone?" "You mean destroy them?" asked a slug-like creature from the far side of the hall. "If necessary," Zexthara replied. "But I prefer the word neutralize. We remove their ability to threaten galactic peace. We take away their weapons. We limit their technology. We make sure they can never hurt anyone." A mechanical being's eyes glowed red. "The Nexus protocols have calculated the probability of success. With our combined fleets, we have a 97.3% chance of victory. Human technology is primitive compared to ours." "What about their population?" asked another council member. 7 billion, Zexthara said, "spread across all continents of their planet. They have no unified government, no single leader. During our attack, they will panic. Some will surrender quickly. Others will hide. Within days, it will be over." Veltan stood up slowly. His ancient mind had seen many wars. "This is a serious decision. We have never attacked a species that had not first threatened us." "But they will threaten us," Zexthara insisted. "Every simulation shows the same result. If we wait, they will become too strong to stop. Then we will have to fight them among the stars, where innocent worlds might be hurt." The debate continued for hours. Species after species spoke about the human problem. The ethereal collective shared the thoughts of their billion-mind network. The gardener clans talked about pruning dangerous growth. The war singers hummed battle songs from ancient times. One by one, they reached the same conclusion. "The humans must be stopped," said the representative of the ocean worlds. "My people have seen what happens when aggressive species reach the stars. They consume everything." "I agree," said the hive queen of the swarm worlds. "Better to act now than wait for disaster." "The mathematical models are clear," added the Nexus protocols. "Delay increases risk exponentially." Finally, Veltan called for the vote. All in favor of military action against the human species? 47 hands, tentacles, appendages, and energy fields rose into the air. The vote was unanimous. All opposed? Silence filled the great hall. The decision is made, Veltan announced. Admiral Zexathara, you will lead the fleet. How long do you need to prepare? Zexathara smiled, showing her sharp teeth. The first fleet is already assembled. 300 ships from 47 worlds. We have plasma cannons that can melt cities, shields that can stop any human weapon, and neural disruptors that will make them forget how to fight. When will you attack? Asked Veltan. Tomorrow, Zexathara replied. We strike at their dawn. Their military forces will be unprepared. Their leaders will be sleeping. We will target their major cities first. New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow. Once their governments fall, the rest will surrender. The council members nodded in approval. It seemed like a perfect plan. Remember, Veltan said as the meeting ended, we are not destroyers. We are peacekeepers. Use only the force necessary to ensure compliance. Of course, Zexathara agreed, though I suspect very little force will be needed. Humans have never faced real opposition. They fight each other with primitive weapons. They have no experience with galactic-level warfare. As the council members returned to their ships, Zexathara went to her command vessel. It was a massive ship longer than a human city. Its weapons could destroy mountains. Its shields could stop nuclear missiles. She stood on the bridge looking out at the fleet assembled around her. Ships from every corner of the galaxy, the greatest military force ever gathered for a single operation. Set course for Earth, she commanded. Maximum speed. Yes, Admiral, replied her navigation officer. Estimated time of arrival, 14 hours. Zexathara watched the stars stretch into lines as the fleet entered hyperspace. Soon the human problem would be solved. The galaxy would be safe, and the Council's authority would be stronger than ever. She had no idea that in less than 24 hours, everything she believed about humans would be proven wrong. She had no idea that her perfect plan would become a perfect disaster. And she had no idea that by attacking Earth, the Galactic Council was about to wake up something that had been sleeping in human DNA for thousands of years. The survival instinct of a species that had crawled out of caves, survived ice ages, and turned a hostile planet into their home. The fleet jumped toward Earth, carrying the largest invasion force in galactic history, toward what they thought would be an easy victory. They were about to learn that there is no such thing as an easy victory when fighting humans. The first human to see the alien ships was a night shift radar operator in Colorado. Her name was Lisa Park, and she had been watching screens for 6 boring hours when impossible signals appeared on her display. What the hell? She whispered, then reached for the red phone. Within minutes, alarms were screaming across every military base on Earth. Giant ships were appearing in the sky over major cities. They were huge, bigger than anything humans had ever built, and they were definitely not from Earth. Colonel Sarah Chen was drinking coffee in her office at Cheyenne Mountain when the call came. She was the duty officer for NORAD, the organization that watched for threats from space. She had expected to spend a quiet night doing paperwork. Instead, she found herself staring at a screen showing alien spacecraft hovering over every major city on the planet. "Ma'am," said Sergeant Rodriguez, his voice shaking. "What are your orders?" Sarah looked at the screen. 30 massive ships, each one the size of a city. They hung in the air like metal clouds blocking out the stars. "Sound general quarters," she said calmly. "Alert all commands." DEFCON 1. "Should we try to communicate with them?" Rodriguez asked. "Not yet," Sarah replied. "Let's see what they want first." She did not have to wait long. High Admiral Zexathara stood on the bridge of her flagship, looking down at the blue planet below. Everything was going according to plan. Her ships had appeared simultaneously over 30 human cities. The humans would see their overwhelming power and surrender immediately. "Open communications to all human governments," she ordered. "Channel open, Admiral," replied her communications officer. Zexathara spoke in her most commanding voice. "Humans of Earth, I am High Admiral Zexathara of the Galactic Council. Your species has been judged a threat to galactic peace. You will surrender all weapons and submit to Council authority. You have 1 hour to comply. Resistance is futile." She cut the transmission and smiled. Now she would wait for the human leaders to call and beg for mercy. Instead, something else happened. Sarah Chen heard the alien message and felt something cold settle in her stomach. "Not fear, anger, Rodriguez," she said. Get me the president. Then get me every military commander on the planet. Yes, ma'am. What should I tell them? Tell them we're at war. Within 30 minutes, Sarah was speaking to leaders around the world. The president in Washington, the prime minister in London, the premier in Beijing, generals and admirals from every major military on Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, she said, her voice carrying across encrypted channels to bunkers and command centers everywhere. We are under attack by an alien force. They have given us 1 hour to surrender. I propose we give them a different answer. Colonel, said General Harrison from the Pentagon, these ships are enormous. Our weapons might not even scratch them. Maybe, Sarah replied, but we won't know until we try. And I'd rather die fighting than live as slaves. Around the world, military commanders were having the same conversation. In Moscow, Admiral Volkov was readying his submarine fleet. In Tokyo, General Yamamoto was preparing his missile batteries. In London, Air Marshal Davies was scrambling every fighter jet in Britain. The hour passed quickly. When Admiral Zexathera's deadline expired, she expected to receive surrender messages from human governments. Instead, she received something else entirely. A single voice on all frequencies. Colonel Sarah Chen, speaking from deep inside a mountain in Colorado. Alien Fleet, this is Colonel Sarah Chen, United States Air Force, speaking for the people of Earth. We have received your ultimatum. Here is our response. Go to hell. Before Zexathera could react, every human military base on the planet opened fire at once. Missiles streaked into the sky from ships and submarines. Fighter jets roared up from airfields on every continent. Artillery guns turned their barrels skyward and began shooting. Even civilian hunters emerged from their homes with rifles, firing uselessly but defiantly at the massive ships above. Zexathera watched in shock as primitive human weapons struck her ships. The missiles exploded harmlessly against her shields, but there were so many of them. Hundreds, then thousands. Admiral, said her weapons officer, their attacks are ineffective. Should we return fire? Yes, Zexathera said. Target their military bases. Show them the price of resistance. Energy beams lanced down from the alien ships. Military bases exploded in balls of fire. Cities burned. Millions of humans died in the first hour of the war. But the humans did not stop fighting. In fact, they fought harder. Captain Mike Rodriguez was flying his F-22 Raptor toward the alien ship over Los Angeles when he heard that his base had been destroyed. His wife and children lived near that base. Control, this is Viper 1, he said into his radio. I'm out of missiles, but I'm not out of options. Viper 1 returned to base for rearming. Negative, Control. There is no base. Watch this. Rodriguez pushed his fighter to full speed and aimed it directly at the alien ship's weapon ports. At the last second, he ejected, leaving his plane to slam into the alien vessel at 600 miles per hour. The explosion was tiny compared to the massive ship. But something important happened. The alien ship's shields flickered. Similar scenes played out across the globe. Human pilots, knowing they were about to die, aimed their planes at alien vessels and ejected at the last possible moment. Tank crews drove their vehicles off cliffs to land on alien ships. Submarine captains surfaced their boats under hovering spacecraft and detonated their own torpedoes. Admiral Zexathera had never seen anything like it. They're ramming us, she said in disbelief. These creatures are ramming us with their own vehicles. It's tactically unsound, replied her tactical officer. They're destroying their own military assets. But it's working, said the weapons officer grimly. Their kinetic impacts are overloading our shield generators. Worse than the attacks was something else the humans were doing. They were talking. Every radio frequency buzzed with human voices. Military commanders sharing information, scientists analyzing alien technology, civilians reporting alien positions. Moscow base, this is London. We've identified weak points in their shield harmonics. Tokyo confirms, feeding targeting data to all Allied forces. This is Captain Williams aboard USS Gerald Ford. Admiral, we're ramming that mothership over New York. Tell my family I love them. The humans were not just fighting. They were learning, and they were sharing everything they learned with everyone else. Within 6 hours, human forces had figured out how to disrupt alien shields. Within 12 hours, they had modified their missiles to exploit alien weaknesses. Within 18 hours, they shot down their first alien fighter. The spacecraft crashed in a wheat field in Kansas. where it was immediately surrounded by human soldiers. Dr. Elena Vasquez was a physicist at MIT when the invasion began. Now she was standing in a field in Kansas looking at technology that should not exist. "My God," she whispered, staring at the alien wreckage. "Look at this power source. It's some kind of zero-point energy extraction. But the design is inefficient. We could build this better." "How long would you need?" asked General Harrison, who had flown in from the Pentagon. "Give me 48 hours and access to every physicist on the planet," Elena said. "We'll give you weapons that can punch through their shields like paper." As Elena and her team began studying the alien technology, something else was happening around the world. The humans were uniting. For the first time in their history, every nation on Earth was working together. Americans shared intelligence with Russians. Chinese scientists collaborated with European engineers. African generals coordinated with Asian admirals. The aliens had intended to divide and conquer. Instead, they had given humanity a common enemy. Admiral Zexathera stared at the reports coming in from her fleet. 17 ships damaged, 3 destroyed, hundreds of fighters lost, and the humans were getting stronger every hour. "Admiral," said her science officer, "the humans have been examining our crashed fighters. They're reverse engineering our technology." "That's impossible," Zexathera replied. "They've had access to our technology for less than 1 day. Nevertheless, they're deploying countermeasures specifically designed to defeat our systems." Zexathera looked down at the blue planet below. Fires burned in dozens of cities, but the humans kept fighting. Their radio chatter had not decreased. If anything, it had grown more organized. "Recall the fleet to high orbit," she ordered. "We need to reassess our strategy." As the alien ships pulled back, Colonel Sarah Chen's voice echoed across every human communication channel. "All stations, this is command. The enemy is retreating. Repeat, the enemy is retreating, but this is just the beginning. They'll be back, and when they come, we'll be ready. Operation Prometheus is now in effect. We're going to show these aliens what humans do when someone threatens our home." Admiral Zexathera did not know what Operation Prometheus was, but she was about to find out that attacking Earth had been the worst mistake in the history of the Galactic Council. Dr. Elena Vasquez had not slept in 36 hours. She stood in an underground bunker in Nevada, surrounded by the impossible wreckage of an alien fighter. Around her, the brightest minds on Earth worked, frantically to understand technology that was centuries ahead of human science. "The power core is definitely zero-point energy extraction," she told the assembled team through a secure video link. Scientists from MIT, Oxford, Tokyo University, and Moscow Technical Institute all listened carefully. "But look at this design. It's using harmonic resonance in the quantum foam, but they're doing it wrong." Dr. James Wright from Cambridge University leaned forward on his screen. "Wrong how?" "They're using a stable frequency pattern," Elena explained, pointing to the alien device. "But quantum foam fluctuates. If we modify the frequency to match the natural variations, we could increase power output by at least 300%. "That's not all," added Dr. Liu Wei from Beijing, who was examining another piece of wreckage. "Their shield generators use a fixed harmonic pattern. Once you know the frequency, you can disrupt it with simple electromagnetic pulses." In bunkers around the world, human scientists were making similar discoveries. The aliens were advanced, but they had become complacent. Their technology was old and standardized. They had not innovated in centuries. Humans, on the other hand, had been innovating for their entire existence. General Harrison coordinated the global effort from his command center in the Pentagon. "Dr. Vasquez, how long before we can deploy countermeasures? Electromagnetic pulse weapons that can disrupt their shields?" 12 hours, Elena replied. "Modified nuclear warheads that can penetrate their armor?" 24 hours. "And General, we figured out they're faster than light drives." "Explain." "It's not just propulsion," Elena said excitedly. "It's the foundation of their entire technology base. They manipulate quantum fields to bend space-time, and we think we can do it better." High Admiral Zexathera received her science officer's report with growing alarm. "They've had access to our technology for 1.5 planetary rotations, and they're already developing countermeasures." "It gets worse, Admiral," the science officer replied. "Our intelligence division has intercepted their communications. They're not just copying our technology, they're improving it." Zexathera studied the intercepted human transmissions. Scientists around Earth were sharing discoveries in real time. Engineers were modifying alien designs on the fly. Military commanders were deploying new weapons faster than her analysts could track them. How is this possible? She wondered aloud. The humans appear to have a different approach to technological development, her science officer explained. Where we seek stability and proven methods, they embrace rapid change and experimentation. They call it innovation. The situation deteriorated rapidly for the alien forces. Within 24 hours of the first crash, human military units were deploying electromagnetic pulse weapons, specifically tuned to disrupt alien shield frequencies. The weapons were crude compared to alien technology, but they worked. Within 36 hours, human forces had modified their nuclear missiles with alien power cores, creating warheads that could punch through alien armor like it was paper. Within 48 hours, the impossible happened. General Harrison, Elena's voice crackled over the secure channel. Operation Prometheus is ready for deployment. What exactly are we deploying, Doctor? We've built a faster-than-light communication array using modified alien quantum field generators. We can now coordinate with our space assets in real time. What space assets? Harrison asked, confused. Elena smiled for the first time since the invasion began. The ones we've been building, sir. On the moon. Admiral Zexithara was reviewing tactical reports when her sensor officer made an announcement that chilled her blood. Admiral, we're detecting artificial energy signatures from the human's moon. That's impossible. Humans don't have lunar facilities. They do now, ma'am. And whatever they're building, it's big. The truth was even worse than Zexithara feared. Humans had been preparing for this moment since the first alien ship appeared. As soon as Elena's team had figured out alien faster-than-light travel, human engineers had begun constructing ships in secret facilities on the moon's far side. Using a combination of alien technology and human innovation, they had built vessels that should not have been possible. The human ships didn't look like traditional spacecraft. They were angular, brutal-looking constructs that seemed to have been designed by engineers who cared more about function than beauty. Their hulls were covered with weapons that fired exotic matter. Their shields bent space-time itself. More importantly, they were piloted by humans who had nothing left to lose. Captain Mike Rodriguez had survived ejecting from his fighter during the first day of the invasion. Now he sat in the cockpit of humanity's first faster-than-light warship, the Terra's Fury. Around him, other pilots who had lost everything in the alien attack prepared for humanity's first strike back. All pilots. This is Rodriguez, he said over the communication channel. These bastards killed our families. They burned our cities. They thought they could wipe us out. Time to show them they were wrong. The human fleet launched from hidden bases on Luna, just as Admiral Zexithara was calling for reinforcements from the Galactic Council. Council Command. This is Admiral Zexithara, she transmitted across the galaxy, requesting immediate reinforcement. The human situation has escalated. Explain, came the reply from Council Prime Veltan. The humans have achieved faster-than-light capability. They have built warships, and they're coming for us. There was a long pause before Veltan responded. That is impossible. Our projections indicated centuries would be required for such development. Tell that to the human battle fleet currently approaching my position, Zexithara replied grimly. The first engagement between human and alien forces in space lasted exactly 17 minutes. It ended with the complete destruction of 2 alien cruisers and the retreat of Zexithara's entire fleet. Human ships fought like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They used suicide tactics, ramming maneuvers, and weapons combinations that violated every principle of civilized warfare. They've removed all safety protocols from their weapons, Zexithara's weapons officer reported in shock. Their quantum torpedoes are essentially controlled black holes, and they're not afraid to detonate them at point-blank range, added the tactical officer, even if it destroys their own ships. But the most terrifying thing about the human ships was not their weapons or their tactics. It was their crews. Every human pilot had volunteered for what they knew was likely a suicide mission. They had trained for months in advanced simulators, learning alien tactics and technology. They had studied every engagement from the first day of the invasion, identifying weaknesses in alien strategy. And they were angry. Not the cold, calculated anger of professional soldiers, but the burning rage of people who had watched their world burn, people who had lost friends and family to an unprovoked attack, people who had absolutely nothing left to lose. "Control, this is Rodriguez and Terra's Fury," came the transmission as the human flagship closed with Zexthara's command vessel, requesting permission to show these aliens what humans do to uninvited guests. "Permission granted, Captain," came the reply from General Harrison, now coordinating the battle from his lunar command center. Give them hell. What followed could barely be called a battle. Human ships tore through the alien formation like sharks through a school of fish. They had learned alien tactics, adapted alien technology, and combined it with a ferocity that the galaxy had never seen. When Zexthara finally gave the order to retreat, only half her fleet remained operational. The others were either destroyed or too damaged to fight. As the alien ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, Captain Rodriguez's voice followed them into hyperspace. "Admiral, this is Captain Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force. You came to our world uninvited. You killed our people and burned our cities. We want you to take a message back to your council. Humanity remembers. Humanity doesn't forgive, and humanity is coming." Admiral Zexthara's retreat was not strategic. It was panicked flight. For the first time in galactic history, a technologically inferior species had not only repelled an invasion, but had turned the tables so completely that the invaders were running for their lives. As her ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, Zexthara received one final transmission from Earth. It was broadcast on all frequencies in perfect galactic standard, using alien communication protocols that humans had learned and improved upon in just days. "To the Galactic Council," came the voice of Colonel Sarah Chen, now Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. "You declared war on humanity. You started this fight, but we're going to finish it. We know where you live. We know how many ships you have, and we're coming for all of you. See you soon," she added, and the transmission cut out. Admiral Zexthara stared out at the stars rushing past her ship and realized that everything had changed. The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had been awakened, and they were not going back to sleep. Council Prime Veltan had lived for 3,000 years. In all that time, he had never felt the emotion that now pulsed through his crystalline body. Pure, primitive fear. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been called after Admiral Zexthara's panicked retreat from Earth. Now, representatives from 47 species sat in stunned silence as they watched recordings of the battle. "This is impossible," whispered Science Lead Korth of the Nexus Protocols. "Humans have achieved interstellar warfare capability in 73.2 standard time units. Our models predicted it would take them centuries." The holographic display showed human ships moving through space like nothing the galaxy had ever seen. They were angular, brutal constructs that looked more like flying weapons than actual spacecraft. But they moved with deadly precision, tearing through Zexthara's fleet like it was made of paper. "What are we dealing with?" asked the representative from the ocean worlds, her bioluminescent patches flickering with anxiety. Admiral Zexthara stood before the assembly, her once proud military bearing reduced to nervous twitches. "Counselors, the humans are not like any species we have encountered before. They don't just adapt to new technology, they improve it. Within days of capturing our ships, they were building better versions." "How much better?" Veltan asked, though he dreaded the answer. "Their modified faster-than-light drives are 4 times more efficient than ours," Zexthara replied. "Their weapons fire controlled singularities with no safety protocols. Their shields can withstand direct antimatter bombardment, and their ships are piloted by beings who seem to have no fear of death." The ethereal collective's hive mind hummed with distress. "We sense great anger from the direction of their world." "Anger and purpose, and what kind of purpose?" Veltan inquired. The collective speaker flickered. "Revenge. They call it revenge." As if summoned by their discussion, an alarm began sounding throughout the council chamber. The emergency communication system activated, displaying a message that made every being in the hall freeze with terror. "Galactic Council," came a clear human voice speaking perfect galactic standard. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. We know you're listening." The transmission included visual feed from a human ship's bridge. Admiral Chen stood in what appeared to be a command center, surrounded by human officers wearing uniforms that incorporated alien materials. Behind her, tactical displays showed star maps with marked targets. 3 days ago, you voted to exterminate my species," Chen continued. You sent a fleet to burn our cities and kill our children. You failed. Now it's our turn. Veltan activated the Council's response system. Admiral Chen, this is Council Prime Veltan. We are prepared to discuss terms for— There are no terms, Chen interrupted. You don't negotiate with someone after they try to murder your family. You hunt them down and make sure they never threaten anyone again. What do you want? Veltan asked, though he suspected he already knew. Chen smiled, and every being in the council chamber felt a chill run through their bodies. It was the smile of a predator who had cornered its prey. We want justice, she said, for every human who died in your unprovoked attack, for every city you burned, for every child you orphaned. We're coming for all of you. The transmission ended, leaving the council in terrified silence. How many ships do they have? Asked the Warsinger representative. Admiral Zexathera checked her tactical reports. Unknown. Our sensors detect human construction facilities on their moon, on Mars, and in their asteroid belt. They're building ships faster than we can count them. What about our fleet? Demanded the Nexus Protocol's representative. We have 800 ships spread across 47 systems, Zexathera replied. But based on what I've seen of human capabilities, that might not be enough. She was right to be concerned. In the 3 weeks since the failed invasion of Earth, humanity had not been idle. Using captured alien technology and their own innovative engineering, they had built a fleet that defied every rule of space warfare. The ships were not just fast and heavily armed. They were crewed by humans who had been carefully selected and trained for one purpose: hunting down the aliens who had attacked their home. Captain Mike Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Terra's Fury, humanity's flagship. Around him, the largest human fleet ever assembled prepared to jump to faster-than-light speed. 50 ships, each one a perfect fusion of alien technology and human engineering. All ships, this is Rodriguez, he announced over the fleet communication channel. Target is the Vorthon home system. Intelligence indicates Admiral Zexathera's command base is located there. Remember, these are the aliens who started this war. Show them what happens when you mess with Earth. The human fleet jumped to hyperspace, leaving only empty space where they had been. Admiral Zexathera was reviewing defensive preparations on her home world when the impossible happened. Human ships began appearing throughout the Vorthon system. Admiral, her sensor operator called out in panic. Multiple contacts. Unknown configuration. They're everywhere. Zexathera looked at her tactical display and felt her blood turn cold. The humans had not just found her home system. They had surrounded it. 50 ships had emerged from hyperspace simultaneously, in perfect formation, cutting off all escape routes. How did they find us? She wondered aloud. Her intelligence officer provided the terrifying answer. Admiral, they've been monitoring our communications since the first day of the invasion. They've mapped our entire command structure. The humans had done more than just build ships. They had been listening, learning, planning. Vorthon Defense Command, this is Captain Rodriguez of the United Earth Defense Force, came the transmission from the human flagship. You have 30 minutes to surrender Admiral Zexathera for war crimes against humanity. Refuse, and we will consider your entire system to be hostile. They're bluffing, said Zexathera's tactical officer. 50 ships cannot threaten an entire star system, can't they? Zexathera replied grimly. She had seen what human ships could do. The Vorthon home fleet moved to intercept the human vessels. 200 ships, the pride of Vorthon military engineering, against 50 human constructs that looked like they had been built in someone's garage. The battle lasted 12 minutes. Human ships moved through the Vorthon formation like ghosts. Their weapons fired exotic matter that phased through Vorthon shields. Their own shields seemed to bend reality itself, deflecting attacks that should have destroyed them. But the most terrifying thing was their tactics. Human ships worked together with perfect coordination, as if they were controlled by a single mind. They anticipated Vorthon movements, exploited weaknesses, and showed absolutely no mercy. When it was over, the entire Vorthon home fleet was either destroyed or disabled. The humans had lost exactly 0 ships. Admiral Zexathera, came Rodriguez's voice over the communication channel. You have 5 minutes to surrender yourself. After that, we start targeting your planet's military installations. Zexathera looked around her command center. Her officers stared at her with mixtures of fear and desperation. Outside, human ships hung in space like dark angels of death. Admiral, Her communications officer whispered, "What are your orders?" Zexthara thought about her options. She could refuse and watch her homeworld burn. She could try to escape and spend the rest of her life running from human hunters, or she could face the consequences of her actions. "Open a channel to the human flagship," she said quietly. "Channel open, Admiral." "Captain Rodriguez, this is Admiral Zexthara. I surrender myself to human justice." "Smart choice," Rodriguez replied. "Prepare to be boarded." As human soldiers took Admiral Zexthara into custody, similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. Human fleets appeared without warning at Council military bases, alien colonies, and strategic installations. They moved with surgical precision, targeting only military assets and leaving civilian populations unharmed. But their message was clear. Nowhere was safe. No hiding place was too remote. No defense was too strong. Council Prime Veltan received reports of human attacks from 20 different systems. Each report told the same story. Human ships appearing without warning, overwhelming firepower, impossible tactics. Complete victory. How are they doing this? He asked his military advisors. "They've reverse-engineered our faster-than-light communication networks," came the reply. "They know where our ships are before we do. They can coordinate attacks across multiple star systems simultaneously." Veltan realized with growing horror that the humans were not just winning. They were rewriting the rules of galactic warfare. "Sir," his aide said nervously, "we're receiving a transmission from the human fleet." "Put it through." Admiral Sarah Chen appeared on the main display, broadcasting from the bridge of a human dreadnought that had appeared just outside the Council's home system. "Council Prime Veltan," she said formally. "The United Earth Defense Force hereby demands the immediate surrender of all Council military forces and the dissolution of the current galactic government." "And if we refuse?" Veltan asked. Chen's smile was cold and final. "Then we'll make the decision for you. You started this war by voting to exterminate my species. We're ending it by removing your ability to threaten anyone ever again." "What are your terms?" Veltan asked, knowing he had no choice. 6 months after the invasion, the Great Crystal Hall of the Galactic Council looked very different. Where once 47 species had ruled the galaxy, now 63 representatives sat in the expanded chamber. 16 new species had joined specifically to align themselves with humanity. The humans had kept their promise. They had not destroyed the Council. Instead, they had rebuilt it. Council Prime Veltan, his crystalline form dimmed with age and stress, looked across the chamber at the newest addition to the leadership circle. Admiral Sarah Chen sat in a chair designed for human physiology, wearing a uniform that combined Earth military traditions with advanced alien materials. She was no longer just a military officer. She was Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council, and arguably the most powerful being in known space. "The first item on today's agenda," Veltan announced, "is the formal petition for full Council membership from the species designation, human." Admiral Chen stood and walked to the center of the chamber. 6 months of intensive alien language training had made her fluent in diplomatic standard, but she still preferred to speak plainly. "Honored Council members," she began, "Earth requests full membership in the Galactic Council, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails." The Nexus Protocol's representative, its mechanical voice carefully neutral, spoke first. "The mathematical probability of approval is 100%. However, we must address the unusual circumstances of this petition." "Unusual how?" Chen asked, though she knew exactly what the mechanical being meant. "Typically, species petition for membership after demonstrating peaceful intentions and technological compatibility." The representative continued. "Humans have demonstrated overwhelming military superiority and technological innovation, far beyond expected parameters." Chen smiled. It was a warmer expression than the terrifying predator's grin she had worn during the war, but it still made several alien representatives shift uncomfortably. "We prefer to think of it as rapid adaptation under pressure," she said. "When someone tries to exterminate your species, you learn quickly or you die." The representative from the ocean worlds raised a tentacled appendage. "What assurances can you give that humanity will use its capabilities responsibly?" "The same assurance any species can give," Chen replied. "We will act in our own interest and the interest of our allies. But unlike the previous Council leadership, We won't vote to exterminate species just because they might become inconvenient. There was uncomfortable silence at this reference to the original vote to destroy humanity. The ethereal collective speaker flickered nervously. We sense great changes in the galactic order. What does humanity envision for the future? Chen activated a holographic display that showed star charts spanning known space. We envision a galaxy where species advance through cooperation rather than conquest, where technological development is shared rather than hoarded, and where military force is used only against those who threaten innocent life. She paused, letting her words sink in. In other words, we want to build the galactic community that you claim to represent, but never actually created. Admiral Zex Thera, now serving a life sentence on a human-administered prison station, had been brought to the council chamber via secure transmission to testify about human capabilities during the war. Her once proud bearing had been replaced by the hollow look of someone who had seen their entire worldview shattered. "Counselors," she said wearily, "I led the invasion of Earth because I believed humans were a threat to galactic peace. I was right, but I was wrong about what kind of threat they represented." "Explain," Veltan requested. "I thought they were a threat to the Council's authority," Zexthara continued. "I was wrong. They are a threat to the Council's complacency. In 6 months, they have accomplished what we failed to achieve in 6,000 years. She gestured to the expanded chamber. "Look around you. 16 new species have joined the Council since humanity's victory, species that had never been contacted before, because we were too set in our ways to explore beyond our established borders." Chen nodded. "We've made contact with over 50 previously unknown civilizations, not through conquest but through exploration and diplomacy. Our modified faster-than-light drives can reach areas of the galaxy that were previously inaccessible." "What about military applications?" asked the Warsinger representative, its harmonic voice tinged with concern. "Our fleets are being reconfigured for defense and exploration," Chen replied. "We're sharing our technological improvements with all council members who request them. Better shields to protect inhabited worlds, more efficient, faster-than-light drives for exploration, advanced communication systems for diplomatic contact." She activated another display showing human-designed ships working alongside alien vessels. "But these technologies come with requirements. Recipients must agree to mutual defense pacts and peaceful cooperation protocols." The implications were clear. Join humanity's vision of galactic cooperation, or be left behind as the galaxy moved forward without you. Dr. Elena Vasquez, now serving as Earth's chief science advisor to the Council, addressed the assembly via quantum link from her laboratory on Luna. "The technological sharing program has already yielded remarkable results," she reported. "Joint human-alien research teams have developed faster-than-light communication networks that span the entire galaxy, medical technologies that can extend the lifespan of most species by centuries, and energy systems that could power entire worlds without environmental damage. These advances came from combining human innovation with alien knowledge," she continued. "Imagine what we could accomplish if all council species worked together instead of competing." Veltan pulsed thoughtfully. Dr. Vasquez raises an important point. The old council was based on maintaining the status quo. Humanity appears to be offering something different. "We're offering progress," Chen said simply. "The choice is yours. You can join us in building a better galaxy, or you can cling to the old ways and watch the universe pass you by." The debate continued for hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. Species after species spoke in favor of human membership. Some were motivated by fear of human military power. Others were excited by the possibilities of human technology. A few were genuinely convinced by humanity's vision of galactic cooperation. When the vote was finally called, it was unanimous, 63-0 in favor of immediate human membership, with full council privileges and a permanent seat on the Security Directorate. As the ceremony concluded and humanity officially joined the galactic community, Chen made one final statement. 6 months ago, you voted to destroy us because you feared what we might become, she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the chamber and being broadcast across the galaxy. Today you voted to join us in becoming something better. She paused, looking around at the assembled representatives of dozens of species. We want to make something clear. Humans don't forget those who tried to harm us, but we also don't forget those who choose to stand with us. The galaxy is big enough for all of us to prosper as long as we work together. After the session ended, Velton approached Chen privately. "Admiral," he said, "I must ask, what would have happened if we had refused your membership petition?" Chen considered the question carefully. "You would have discovered that the galaxy is a very large place and there's room for more than one galactic government. You would have formed a rival council?" "We already have," Chen replied. 17 species in the Outer Rim have joined our Independent Systems Alliance. They were never part of your council, but they're very interested in human technology and protection." Velton realized that humanity had not just won the war. They had offered the council a choice between partnership and irrelevance. "You gave us the opportunity to remain relevant," he said. "We prefer cooperation to conquest," Chen replied. "But we won't be threatened or ignored. The old days of galactic stagnation are over. The universe is moving forward, with or without the traditional powers." As Chen prepared to return to Earth, Velton sent a message to his personal archives. It would be read by historians for millennia to come. Today marks the end of the Council era and the beginning of what scholars will call the Human Age. They came from a single world, united by an invasion that was meant to destroy them, and changed everything. They did not conquer the galaxy through force, though they possessed overwhelming power. Instead, they conquered it through the promise of something better. Future species would do well to remember. Humans do not merely adapt to the galaxy. They adapt the galaxy to themselves, and somehow they make everyone better in the process. On Earth, the celebration was quieter but no less significant. Colonel Sarah Chen had left as a military officer defending her home world. She returned as Admiral Sarah Chen, Earth's representative to a galactic community that humanity now helped to lead. Standing in the rebuilt Pentagon, looking up at a sky where human and alien ships now flew together, she reflected on the journey from invasion to integration. "We didn't ask for this war," she said to General Harrison, who had survived the conflict to become Earth's Secretary of Galactic Affairs. "But maybe it was what the galaxy needed. A wake-up call, a reminder that the universe is bigger than any one species' fears." "What's next?" Harrison asked.